Hey guys, it's Arcade and I'm back with another video, finally. And if you are wondering why am I holding a microphone and I'm in a different place, it's because I'm actually moving places. So I don't have all my equipment in here yet, but I really wanted to make a new video. So yeah, that's the reason I haven't been posting so much. And today I'm gonna show you how to make melodic glitch hop like TheFatRat. I know I already had one video about TheFatRat, but today it's gonna be different. It's gonna be this melodic glitch hop, more of his classic style. And also I'm only going to be using FL Studio stock plugins, so everyone can follow this video. I'm gonna go over all the melodies and the sounds I used and the effects I put on them, and I'm gonna explain a lot of tips and tricks you can use to make similar music. In this one I kind of made a remake of Jackpot by TheFatRat, and that's what I'm gonna show you how to make. Also, this video is brought to you by Skillshare, so thanks to them for helping me pay my rent, I guess. More on that later. Now let me actually show you a preview of the finished result so you can get excited about it, and then I'm gonna talk about all the sounds and plugins I used and how I implemented them. So yeah, here's a little preview. Let me put on my headphones and let's get started. So yeah, it's gonna be kind of awkward holding the microphone the whole time. And if you hear any pops, that's because I don't have the pop filter either. But yeah, enough talking. Here's the preview. So yeah, that's a little preview of the song. Now I'm gonna show you how to make it. So yeah, as I said, the only plugins that I'm using are FL Studio stock plugins, and almost all the samples that I use are also FL Studio samples, except two of them, which is these main drums. So that's what I'm gonna start with. So it's this kick and this snare. It's from Virtual Riot's sample pack, but you'll be able to get this in the FLP down below. But yeah, the drum beat is really simple. The BPM is at 103. And the drum beat is just kick, snare, kick, snare. Fun fact, I'm not actually using any side chaining in this track, so the kick just pierces through the mix either way, so I didn't need to like side chain it to the bass. Apart from the kick and the snare, I also have some crashes in here, which are from FL Studio packs. I found them somewhere around here, not really sure where. So we have this one, and then this one. So pretty standard crash sounds. One little trick I used here is actually I put a lot of reverb on the first crash. So I just put it on a mixer track, put a lot of reverb with high decay, and that actually results in turning this crash into more like a white noise impact. So it lasts longer. So if you want your crashes to last longer, you can use reverb on them. Also, when we're talking about the white noise, yeah, I know I'm first talking about the less exciting things. I'm gonna get to the melodies, don't worry. But first thing first, the white noise is actually supporting the whole drop, making it a little bit fuller. I use 3x oscillator to make it. It's really simple. You just turn all the oscillators to the random one, the random icon, and then you're just gonna have a noise. So then go to the envelope, and to make this white noise like side chained, so it moves like this, you want to move the amount of this to the left, all the way to the left. Then you have this side chaining motion. And you can also play with this. I have high pass filter here, and you can play with these two parameters to kind of adjust the sound. But either way, you will create this simple white noise sound that you can use in the background of the drop to give it more power. And don't forget to right click on the speed and set it to 4. That way it actually goes with the rhythm correctly. That's like the base of the song. Also, I have some hi-hats here, really simple as well. For the effects, I actually put some reverb on it to make it like more spacious. You can just copy these. And stereo shaper to make it more stereo, so it's more left and right in your headphones or on your speakers. It's not like in the middle, because if you delete that, you can sort of like almost feel as if the hi-hats were in front of you, and if you enable it, the hi-hats are kind of more to the sides. And then just some EQ, because I thought the hi-hats were too harsh, so I deleted some of the high frequencies and the mid frequencies. Now I'm gonna get to the more exciting stuff, which is the melodies. But so far we have this. Now let's get to the melodies, which is pretty intense. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. First, let me play the main melody, and then I'm gonna show you all the layers I use. There is quite a bit of them. And I'm gonna talk about few tricks you can use to make your melodies more exciting as well. So yeah, here is the main melody. Just to make it clear, I wanna say I didn't come up with this melody. It's the melody from TheFatRat song Jackpot, and I gotta say he's a pretty much genius with his melodies. They are always on point. So yeah, I pretty much just remade the melody, but I'm gonna show you how you could make such a melody. As you can see, if we go again to the line grid, you can see there's a lot of notes that are not aligned with the grid. That means we are using a lot of triplets as well. I noticed in TheFatRat's music, he uses a lot of triplets. I recommend using the metronome so you don't get lost with the triplets, because you could easily just like move one note here and it would sound really off. So sometimes I was just guessing where to put it. The moment it sounded right, that's where I left it, you know? As far as making melodies goes, I mean, it's not an easy thing to explain, but if you are a beginner or you are just not really good with melodies, I would recommend Skillshare, which is the sponsor of today's video. On Skillshare, you can actually learn so many skills. Pretty much anything you can think of, it's probably there, but one thing that's there for sure is a lot of music related classes. So if you just go to Skillshare and type in music theory, right off the bat, you will see a lot of classes that you can take that will teach you music theory. And these are not just like 10-minute tutorials on YouTube, but these are actually a really in-depth classes that some of them are like 5 hours long. So they go in a lot of detail on how to make like melodies and how to learn music theory. So this is something I would definitely recommend to anyone who wants to like take their skill on another level. I actually use Skillshare myself to learn how to use some of the plugins like Serum. So yeah, make sure to check it out. The first 500 people who use the link below will actually get 2 months for free. So just imagine how much you can actually learn in 2 months. And I know the New Year's resolution period is kind of over. It's February, but I don't think it's ever too late to start learning some new skills and improve yourself, you know? Skillshare is also really affordable. If you get the yearly plan, you can pay less than $10 a month. Considering how much content you get, that is a really good price. So yeah, if you are interested, if you like learning new skills, make sure to use the link below and get your 2 months of Skillshare for free. Anyways, now let's get back to the video. So if you want an in-depth tutorial about melodies, this is not it, but I'm gonna talk a little bit about how I made this melody. So as I mentioned before, I use a lot of triplets, and another thing to keep an eye on is actually how long you make the notes. That actually makes a lot more difference than some people might think. So say this whole thing would be like long notes, it would sound completely different. But it's not. It sounds like this. So it depends on what you are going for, but if you want to make it like groovy and happy, in this case, shorter notes work better. They like create this rhythm, because the long notes, they don't create this jumpy rhythm. So keep an eye on how long you make some of the notes, and always like change the length of some of the notes. For example, this one is longer right here, but if it was short, it would be a completely different like feel. So yeah, not a lot of people talk about this, but the length of the notes is actually really important when making melodies. So yeah, this melody is from TheFatRat, but one of the things you can notice in this melody and in most of the melodies is that you can repeat the same thing twice, but the ending of the second repetition should be different. So as you can see right here, this is the same as this. But then at the end here, we only have one long note. So you could go with one long note or anything else, but you shouldn't go with the same thing as you had in the first repetition, because then the melody wouldn't be moving forward. So we have this note, and in the next repetition you could go with the same thing again, or you can move forward with the melody even more, like TheFatRat did, and he went like up with the melody this time. So yeah, making melodies is a really interesting thing, and it's not something you can learn in a matter of minutes or whatever. It's something you need to practice and stuff like that. But some of the tips I mentioned should help you out a little bit. So as you can see, this melody has a lot of layers. Most of them are flex. I've been using that a lot lately. I think it's a great plugin, great addition to FL Studio. So this is how it sounds together. And now let's take a look at some of the layers. So the first one you already heard is this one. I'm using 3 times oscillator. And I made this lead. And it's a really simple lead to make. Just change first oscillator to this shape, second one to this one, and third one to the same one as well. And then I played with the detune options and detuning it up and down, and also the phase offset. And as you can see, the pitch is at 24 here and 12 on the rest of the oscillators. And then another thing is go to envelope, enable the envelope, the volume envelope, and I set it up like this, so we have sort of a lead sound, but also a little bit of a pluck sound. Then I actually edited the pitch as well, which is sort of interesting. You can hear it in these long notes. I sort of make this vibrato effect, and the way you do that is actually go to envelope, pitch, and LFO, and I enable this LFO. I have a little bit of a delay, so after you press a note, you don't get the vibrato right away, but if it's pressed long enough, it starts actually enabling the vibrato. So what you do is just increase the amount a little bit, as much as you want the vibrato to be present, and then change up the speed. So that's how you make this vibrato effect. It's actually pretty interesting. I never done it before, but you can try to remake the sound yourself. But another important thing about the sound is the effects. So without the effects, it sounds like this. And with the effects, it sounds like this. So quite a difference. The biggest difference is the fruity chorus, which I just added in with the default preset. And then we have reverb in here, some EQ, deleting the low frequencies because we don't need them, and stereo shaper to make this more stereo, so left and right. So that's what we have on that lead. And then we have another lead, which is from Flex, from the Glitch sample pack. I think it's free. And I'm using this future lead. If you use the same presets as I do, make sure to check if you have the envelope set up the same and these macros as well, because I edited them slightly, especially the envelopes to make the leads more plucky. So I lower the sustain, as you can see, all the way down, and lower the decay a little bit as well, so this sounds more plucky. Good. Otherwise we would have another lead sound, but I wanted this plucky sound. So yeah, that's one of the sounds. Then we have this whistle, air leak. It's also from the Glitch sample pack, and it sounds like this. Then we have this one, which is more of a lead sound again. Then we have this one, cheese, which is a plucky sound, and then this one, which is like a layer that adds this chipmunk effect, which is nice. And together they sound like this. Also, all the leads are routed to this track, which has transient processor, which is sort of not necessary, but I wanted to adjust some of the attack. So by increasing the attack, the sounds will be more plucky. Then I have Maximus in there, just sort of to compress it, and some EQ, adjusting the frequencies, and reverb. So yeah, and that's pretty much it for the leads. Also, you can get the FLP file of this project in the description below if you want to, so you can check out how everything was made exactly yourself. So the next thing we have here is the bass sound, which is really cool, and here's how it sounds. So it's two sounds actually. One is from Flex called 808 Lego, which is a really cool sound on its own, but I actually deleted the low frequencies from this one because I wanted to have separate sub bass, because that's just what I prefer. But the sound sounds like this. So it's this dirty bass, and then we have pretty much the same sound, but I did the opposite. I deleted the dirtiness of the sound and I just left the sub there, and it sounds like this. Also, as you can see, I only use one note here, and in this one we differentiate between lower and higher octaves. So that wasn't necessary for the sub bass, but it sounded cool with the gritty bass. So I didn't want that with the sub bass, because then we would lose some power on the higher notes. So I just want the sub to be on the lower notes, but the gritty bass can actually switch between lower and higher notes. So that's why you would want your sub and another layer of the bass separated. So yeah, that is the bass. Then we have these chords, which are maybe kind of unnecessary, but I wanted to add them in anyways to sort of fill out some of the spaces. So it sounds like this. So it's sort of like the same notes as the bass, but I turned it into chords, and I use Citrus and this Destructo sound. For the effects, I deleted the low frequencies because we don't want any bass there, and I also deleted some of the high frequencies. This sound is sort of in the background, so that's how I tried to mix it. Then we have these chords, which are pretty important. Without these chords, the song would lose a lot of power in the drop. Here's how it sounds without them. It's still pretty good, but it sort of doesn't sound like a drop. With this, you can hear it has a lot more power right away. Because there's this constant flow of sound in the background with the chords. So for the sounds, I'm using 3 layers. It's this one called Piano Pad. Then this one, which is like strings from the Essential Strings. So it sort of just adds a little bit, but it makes a big difference in the end. And this one, called Eastern, is more of a dirty chord layer. But yeah, the chords actually follow the same notes as the bass. You just turn them into chords, and that's pretty much all there is to say about that. No effects on the chords. So then one more sound, which is kind of strange, is this little sound. And this is what's interesting about showing you like how I made a song. No one would probably notice this sound in the song, but it's there the whole time, and it just adds a little bit more like frequencies in that range, and it doesn't make a big difference, but if you really listen to it, you can hear that sound in there, so it adds something to the whole drop. And honestly, that's mostly it for the sounds. I'm gonna show you a little bit on how I did the mastering, which is really simple, but I'm gonna show you anyways. And of course, in the second repetition of the drop, we change up the melody completely, as TheFatRat did. There's not much to say about that. I would recommend, if you want to download this project, I would just recommend to make your own melodies and just have fun, you know, because sometimes it's hard to like make a song there's so much to do, but if you just take a FLP file from someone else and just edit it to like make your own melodies, you sort of have this great feeling that you created something. Even though you didn't create it from scratch, you still had some creative input into it. You can just have fun because that's what it's all about anyways. So last thing I added is these vocals, which are from Splice, and it's this in the second repetition of the drop, and that's pretty much it. So for the mastering, what I did is I actually lowered a little bit of the high mid frequencies. It might not seem like a lot, but it actually makes a big difference if you put it on the master channel, because you delete all of the frequencies from all of the sounds. But I felt like the song was like a bit too harsh in the high frequencies. So if you ever feel like your song is a bit too harsh in any frequencies, you can just lower them on the master channel slightly, and you might just get away with it. I also put 3 limiter on it and lowered the cell, which sort of compresses the signal a little bit. You can see it. You can see every time the kick and the snare hits, the signal is a little bit compressed down, and that's pretty much it for all of the sounds in effects as well. So I have this little breakdown where I use this sound. So let me show you how my remake sounds. You can check out the FLP file in the description below. Now let's hear the finished result. And yeah guys, this is pretty much it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. So yeah, my hand actually hurts from holding this microphone for so long, but hopefully I get all my equipment soon enough so I can make more videos. I'm actually really excited about making some new videos. I have some big projects coming up. Also big thanks to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Make sure to check them out. First 500 people get 2 months for free. So there's no reason not to sign up. You can learn some new skills. And if you want to check out the FL Studio project file, the link will be in the description as well. So yeah guys, thanks for watching. Thanks to TheFatRat for making awesome music. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.